Good morning. Okay, so the kids just woke me up, and I'm not a morning person. But while they're downstairs eating breakfast, I thought I would show you how to do a fun eye look with Palette 5. And I got the idea for this because my sponsor, Miss Jackie Lindley, is doing a color series on her blog right now, and she posted this eye look, and it was something I actually did yesterday, like almost the exact same thing, and she was really intimidated with it. So it gave me the idea to, sorry, I'm getting messages now. It gave me the idea to show you how I did it, how I would do it, and going from there. So I've already used my rose water and put on my moisturizer for the morning, let that all soak in. But I have not yet put on foundation. When I do really bold eye looks, or if I do something that has a lot of glitter in it, I like to do my eyes first. One reason is that you tend to get a little bit more fallout with these bolder colors, and you're going to see it. So if I have any of that, I want to be able to wipe it away and not screw up any of the rest of my makeup. And the second reason is, if I royally screw this up and I hate it, if I get it too dark, if I blend it weird or something like that, I can take it off, and then I'm not starting everything over from scratch. I can just do the eye makeup all over again. So, let's get to it. The first thing I'm going to use, because I'm using such a bold color, is eye primer. And the eye primer just helps it stick a little bit better. And then I'm also going to use a transition shade, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. I'm just using an old brush. I like to use a brush rather than my fingers for my eye primer. I think I get it on a little more evenly. But, yeah, you just kind of cover everything. It's going to give your eyeshadow a nice base. And then I was talking about that transition shade. Basically, you can use any matte neutral shade that you like. You can go all the way from like a white to a brown, a pale pink. I am going to use Elated from Palette 1. It lands a little more on the white side, so it's not going to interfere with the color. But the purpose of it is to want to give your bold colors, your shadows that you want to show up and be bright and vibrant, something to stick to. But more than that, one of the things I've noticed with Palette 5 colors especially, because they are like this shimmery, like they're not glitter, but they've got a lot of like sparkle to them still. They don't blend as nicely together with each other as, say, like a matte shadow would. So if I put a transition shade on, it helps with the blending because you can soften each color out and it doesn't get all muddy and make a new color, which sometimes is good and sometimes it's not. So I am, let's see, hold on, I gotta dig for brushes here. Oh, the other thing that's your friend, since I just moved it. I have one of these. It's called Color Switch. I got mine at Sephora. It's about $20, but those things are invaluable, let me tell you. It allows you to have one brush and switch back and forth between the colors. Okay, here. There's the three I'm probably going to use. We'll stick those here. And so then you use your color, apply it however you want, and then whatever's left over on the brush, you take and you swipe it like this, and it cleans it off. So then there's nothing. Here, I'll do it on my hand here. Yeah, and there's nothing left on the brush. So that's how you get away with one brush, and then you wash it at the end of the week instead of every day. Yeah, so anyway, back to the transition shade. I'm just going to get some of this Elated. Like I said, you could use any matte neutral shade. But we're going to do it all over, and especially up here in the crease, because I'm going to have a little bit more blending right there. Okay. And I'm also not being as careful with this right now. Normally, with something very bright, like from Palette 5, which I'm going to use, it's not a look, unless you have a lot of practice. It's not a look that it's 5 minutes and out the door. It takes a little bit more time than some of your other ones, and mostly that's because of the blending. Now, one of the brushes that I use a lot for my blending is one that Younique doesn't have. So this one, it's a Sigma E35. It's a tapered blending brush, and I really like this. But you see how it's nice and fluffy? Okay, and it's got really soft bristles. That allows you to get a lot more softer blending than what some of ours can do. I mean, yeah, these are still nice and fluffy, but they're also flat. So this one is round, and it's a different tool. So, I mean, your makeup is as good as your canvas, which is, of course, always fabulous, even if it has flaws, and the quality of your tools. So, you know, use good tools. I love our Younique brushes. You know, they're my favorite. But when I don't have it, I usually go for Sigma because they're cheap and they're still good quality. And they wash up really nice. All right. So, all right. Palette 5. All kinds of bright, vibrant colors. And I know, I'm sorry, this light is terrible, but I have no natural light in my bathroom here. All right. So, really bright, and a lot of people are scared of it, and I say even my sponsor's a little bit scared of it, just like this intimidates me. So, I'm just going to show you. It's nothing to be scared of. You know, when it comes to color, it's all about your confidence. If you think, hey, I'm rocking this, other people are going to think, wow, she's rocking that. So, we already put our transition shade on. I like to start with stuff like this, working from the top. So, like, I'm going to put above, you know, right here on my brow bone a little bit and work my way down. I just have a easier time blending it. Plus, I usually tend to put my lighter colors up in the crease. So I find that if I put the lighter color on first and then work to darker, it blends better. All right, so for this one, to be like the image that Jackie is using today, and I'll post that later in the comments too so you guys can see it. I am going to use Sarcastic, which is this red one right here. That one I'm going to use on the brow bone, and I'm going to use it a little bit in the crease. I'm going to use Fearless, which is this bright purple. And I'm also going to use Vindictive, which is this kind of really light yellow gold color. All right, and actually, I really wish these were matte shadows, but they're not. For some reason, with my skin and my eyes, I just prefer the matte one. So the first brush I'm going to use, make sure it's clean here, is our crease brush. Okay, so it's kind of got a similar shape to that tapered one I showed you, but it's a little bit firmer. It doesn't fluff out as much, and so this is really good for getting right along that brow bone and right there in that, you know, that little, the indent, the crease. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of Sarcastic, and not a ton. It's always better to start with a little bit, I'm going to look in the mirror here, a little bit and build up. You don't want to get too much. But this one, and I'm going to try and stay off of my lid for this. Okay, because right now this is kind of like a second transition color almost, because our purple is going to fade up into it. And then you'll also notice that I have slightly hooded eyes, which means like if I got them closed like this, you can see them all just fine. But then when I open them, like half of my lid disappears. So I take it up a little bit higher on the brow bone. I got a little fuzzy. Okay. And then also when I do looks like this, I also tend to do both eyes at the same time rather than one and finish it and then the other. Because sometimes I do something funky with blending. Oh man, Case, you should. Ooh, okay. And so I want to remember what I did. And I think it also helps to make sure that they match. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I use a combination of little tiny circles just to get this color on there, and these back and forth motions just to kind of blend it out. Okay, and then it's not very dark. Okay, it's not very dark. I know the light's terrible. But I mean, out of step, you blend. Every step you blend, okay? Remember that. Every step you blend. All right, so come back here. Because this will soften it out, and it, with these bold, bright colors that are so harsh, it's easier to get them soft and looking how you want before you go add in the next one. All right. So now, okay, now I've got the red. You can also use orange for this. It looks really pretty too. And that one, Suspicious is a little too light for me. It doesn't show up very well. So if I was going to do orange, I would use one in the middle, Vintage. But we just use Sarcastic for the crease. All right, so next, there's two ways you could do this. You could put on the purple first, and if you only want a little bit of gold, we're going to put the gold right here in the corner. So if you only want a little bit of gold to kind of brighten everything up, I would put that on second. But if you want to do it like the picture, and that's what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do the gold first, because we're going to blend it out to about 1/3 of the way across on the eye, and then the rest of it I'll do in purple. So for that, because I want the bold, the gold color to show up so well, and it's so light, and I want it really precise, I am going to use the flat end of the angled shadow sponge brush, because this little pad does a great job of getting it right where you want it. All right, let's see. So, and I also really, really like to pack this on there. Let's say you can cover it. I mean, you want it good. We're going for bold, so go for bold. All right, so let's see. I'm going to start right here. All right, and I'm going to press rather than sweep to get it right where I want it. All right. And it gets, yep, right there. And I've got it, you know, pretty much 1/3 of the way. That's the brush. That's where I'm going with that. And then, hey, look, flip it over. You got a blending brush right there. Let's say for this one, that will do. And I just kind of feather it out a little bit so it's on that lid. And I'm going to cover up, I'm going to overlap some of that with the purple. So now we'll do the other eye. Pack it on there good. All right. Press, press, press. Okay, and then I didn't do this yet on the other eye, but I'm going to take it down a little bit here in the corner of my eye, and I'm going to go a little bit here, because that just helps brighten up the whole look after you're all done. And I'll just use whatever's left on this sponge brush here. There we go. All right, so that's color 2 down. I'm going to kind of wipe that off a little bit. So check that out. That was just covered in gold. All right, seriously, love these things. Get yourself one. It's the best makeup investment there is. All right, now back to palette 5 in that bold, bold purple, Fearless. We're going to be fearless. All right. So this time I'm using the liner shader brush. I'm going to use the shader end. And I like to really get the color right on there. Okay, so I mean, fill up the brush so you can see it, and then take the excess and tap it off, because then you know you got good coverage and you're not going to wonder where it went. All right, this one I also do kind of more of a pressing motion, just because, yeah, I don't need it to be as precise, but I do want it on my lid and not everywhere else. So here we go. And I'm going to kind of start right here in the middle, right where that gold is, but I'm not going to go too much over top of it, and then I'm going to work my way out to the edge. I'm going to cover up a little bit of that orange that I've got in the corner. All right, and then I'm going to just kind of slowly, and look, I still have a ton of product on my brush, okay? So yeah, that was probably a little much, but I think it's easier to get the coverage when you have it all on your brush, because you can always shake it off. All right, so now you're thinking, oh my God, Case, that looks crazy. That's where you blend. You blend. Okay, so set this one aside, and this probably has, you know, enough to do the other eye. Actually, I'll do that first. Well, press it on here. See, and you can even see the difference between one eye and the next. how much different it looks with less product. This one is a lot more bold because I didn't pick up any more for this eye. Okay, so we'll do that little triangle here. We'll get a little bit more. And yes, I do make funny faces when I put on my eyeshadow. I think we all do. It has to do with the muscles in your face. You know, you do this, it flattens your eye out. So that's why you do it with mascara too. Fun fact. Okay, so done with that. Okay, you saw all that purple shadow. This is where these color switches are really cool. Okay, I'm going to rub it on there. Check this out. Nothing. No purple. Woo woo. Okay. So, now we're looking all crazy. Now we're going to blend it. Okay? Go from light to dark. Because if you blend this purple upwards or this way, it's going to change those other two colors. It's too dark and it's going to overpower it. So start with the light stuff and just kind of sweep it. And it doesn't have to be a ton, but it's going to, let's see if I can get a little closer here. It just blends it enough to where you don't have that weird line in between. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. And I'm just going to kind of go sideways with it. There we go. Yep, and if you need to, open your eyes when you blend. Like, you know, especially if you have hooded eyes, open it up so you can see where you're actually getting your color at. All right, so now let's do this one. And with looks like this, I also have been known to clean off that blending brush in between. Because if you get the end of it all mucked up, then it's going to affect the other eye. So a clean blending brush is your friend. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. I got it nice, subtle, no lines. And now you're thinking, that still looks really weird. Do not judge an eyeshadow before you have mascara on. I will also say, with these bolder looks, I think they need something to anchor them. So I usually go with black liner. However, saying that, I'm also not a fan of liner. It doesn't stay on me very well. Even our pencil liner, our Youniques pencil liners probably do the best job for me of staying put. But I like to use eyeshadows as another liner. So, I love my palettes because they come in all different colors. So far we've used 1 and 5. Now we're going to break out 3 because I think 3 has the best black. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to use the liner shader brush again, but this time I'm going to use the liner side. And I'm going to get this wet, and then we're going to dip it in the shadow, and then make a line. It's really easy, seriously. All right, wet brush. And I kind of tap it on my hand after I get it wet just to kind of even out the water on it. All right. Literally just stick it in here. All right. And then go right in on my lash line. And I like this because it's also easier for me to get a straight line. The pencils are good, but I tend to get them a little too thick sometimes. And with having hooded eyes, that means I cover up all the color. So that's another reason that I like using the liner shader brush and an eyeshadow. I've also heard people use, what's the name of that shade? I think it's Magnificent, but it's the new black matte splurge cream. People love that for liner. They've compared it to a gel liner. So if that's up your alley, you could give it a try. And now I'm not coordinated enough to do this from this angle. If you have problems, like you can see like a blank space between where your liner is and your lashes and it's not quite dark enough, turn your brush around and press it in from this direction. I am not coordinated enough to do that without getting it everywhere. So I stick to this direction just because it works for me. All right. And this also, sometimes that's not enough of a line. Like, it's plenty of a line, but it's not enough to anchor that look. I want it a little bit more bold. So then I will use the pencil liner, but I will use it in my lower waterline. Okay, so yeah, simple pencil liner. Let's see, and I put it right here. That's gonna make it a little bit more bold. All right, see if I can sit back here if you can see the difference. I know this lighting is terrible. There, that's a little better. But yeah, see how it just kind of, it connects everything from the top. So this is probably a better look for evening, according to a lot of people, but I just don't care. I like it. It makes me feel pretty. Makes me feel a little bit younger, because, you know, I'm so old at 33 now. But I like that. So I'll usually put it along that waterline, and then sometimes I will go underneath those bottom lashes too, but I'm going to wait to do that until after foundation, because if I put it on now, then I'm just going to brush it off when I put on my foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my mascara. And the same reason I'm doing this now before my foundation is that if I get fibers all over my face, I can just brush them away and I don't have to worry about messing up my foundation. So if you've never seen our mascara before, it comes in 2 tubes. One is the gel, one is the fibers. Gel, fiber, gel. That's how it goes on. So I'm going to start, like I said, with the gel. And don't do this. Don't do this. I do it all the time, but I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't, but I do. And this tube's actually getting a little old, so it's getting hard to get it out. All right, so here we go. You want to get a decent coat of gel on there, enough that the fibers can stick to it. If you want, you can also curl your lashes beforehand. I don't like to do that just because I've got pretty decent lashes already. And I find that when I try and curl them, what happens is the curling wand bends them in a weird funny shape, and then I'm fighting them. So I don't like that. Then you take the fibers after you got the gel on. And this one you do one eye at a time. I like to roll them on the back of my hand so they don't kind of go everywhere. And then kind of squiggle them on there so they stick right to that gel. And you can do the tops of them. I like to do right from the base all the way, but a lot of people, like, especially if you're starting out and you find you keep getting fibers in your eyes, focus on like the midway point of your lashes out to the tips. And Younique redesigned their mascara, and the new formula came out in January. So if you have tried Younique before, the Younique mascara before, and you are like, I don't know about that. Well, it's way better, like way better. So I would give it a try again. It is a completely different animal. Like, when I first got it, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to relearn how to do this, because I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve. You know, most people aren't used to using, you know, 2 things to do, you know, one eye product, basically. So it's, the thing is that they added a bunch of stuff to the gel, so it goes on a lot smoother, and the fibers, while they stick to it, the gel won't, like, the fibers won't absorb the gel. It won't get whatever oils or whatever it was that's in it. I don't know the ingredients. I just know they're good. But so that, like, if you've used the old one before, sometimes it would have a tendency to, like, clump up. It doesn't do that anymore. Really nice. So yeah, give it another chance, because it's completely different. And it's really nice. Alright, and then you also might notice I'm not quite as bold as I wanted. So if after you get your mascara done, you can go back and add more of your eyeshadow to it too. I usually do it a lot. Woo! Everybody back? Sorry about that. Apparently there's an Amber Alert in my area, so, you know, the authorities took over. Alright. So, I put gel on, fiber on, gel on, fiber on. Now I'm going to go back in with a second coat of gel. And this is what seals in the fibers. So if you don't go back and do this, you're going to have fibers all over your face, you know, an hour from now. I mean, yes, the formula is better, but you still have to wear it the right way. So, and you don't need a ton. But you want enough to make sure that nothing's falling off of there. Alright. And then another trick that people do too, and sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I won't today because I've got my hair dryer all packed up, but you can take a hair dryer and essentially you plug it in, put it on low, point the nozzle right here, and it will blow your eyelashes upward. So it does two things. It will curl your eyelashes, and it will blow away any of those extra fibers. So, my trick, if you don't want to do that, grab that blending brush again, and go in and brush off any fibers. I actually don't see any right there, but blend off any fibers, because all it's going to do is going to give you a little extra blending. Okay, and so then you can get underneath here too. Another good one to get off fibers is your powder puff brush. Okay. Alright. So, I do need to line underneath my eyes still, but we're going to do foundation first. And today, I think I want to go with, let's go BB Flawless. I've been liking that a lot lately. I see we're in that weird, is it cold? Is it sunny? Is it... We don't know what the weather's going to be, and it does bad things to my sinuses. So, I've been taking a lot of decongestants lately, and when that happens, it dries out my skin. So, let me just put these eyeshadows away real quick. There we go. So, our BB Flawless is actually a tinted moisturizer, and I found that it's really been helping combat that dryness. So, I use Bisque. Right, Bisque? Yeah, Bisque. The next one down is probably too white for any human to wear. So, go with Bisque if you're a white girl. Probably. Alright. I just put a little bit on the back of my hand. And then I have a foundation brush. I don't have Uniques because I already had this one. And it's falling apart, so I probably should get Uniques. But I just use the foundation brush to put it on my face. And I like to really cover those spots right here, because I like to do those first, because that's what needs the most moisture. But just spread it out all over the place. And it's going to look a little silly at first, too, until we get everything blended in. Let me go down a little bit down here around my jaw, just to help blend it. And when I first started using this, I would get way too much every time. So, start small, squirt out more from the jar. I mean, it seems like kind of intense, but I swear, every time, I'd be like, I need more. And then I would have a whole bunch of it left over. So, yeah. Actually, this time, I think I got right amount. I could maybe use a little bit more up here. We'll steal some from there. Ooh, don't get your hair in it. Alright. So, mostly I got that, but the thing about it with putting it on this way, it's handy because you can get the coverage and it's really fast. However, you can see the brush strokes in it. So, Blending Bud. Again, this is not Uniques. I actually just ordered Uniques, but I don't have them yet. So, the way these things work, you got to get them wet. If you don't get them wet, it will absorb your makeup and go into the sponge and not be on your face. So, get them wet, and then just bounce. Okay? And for something like this, it doesn't really matter where you go. But what it's going to do is it's going to blend out all those brush strokes that you just put on. Now, you'll also notice especially you've been paying attention down here. BB Plus doesn't have a ton of coverage. And I'm okay with that today because I'm just staying home with the kids or not doing anything. But if you want to up the coverage, you can either mix it with our liquid concealer, which works really well, or you can even use the liquid foundation. And I really like that better, I think. Sometimes the concealer can make it a little bit tacky, I think. So I just prefer the texture of it when it's with the liquid foundation versus using the concealer. But you can use either, and it will up the coverage beautifully. The other thing you can do, if you want more of a matte finish, because this is more kind of a dewy finish, you know, it's a little bit shiny. You can see the sheen right here. That's good. And it also, I will note, that is very prevalent when you first put it on. Like, even after I just blended this in, this will continue to soak into my skin a little bit, and it won't be so shiny. So if you don't like that, or if you want more coverage, you can also top it with either the pressed powder, which I really like, or, and I use nope, I guess this one's taffeta, but I probably need to order organza. It's a little bit dark sometimes. Or you can use the new setting powder. So, and sometimes I like to do that, sometimes I don't. I'm not going to use it today. But it's pretty easy, and it's, here, I'll show you this. It's got this cool little mesh thing, so you don't get too much out at once. I really like that. Alright, so now I'm going to line underneath my eyes with that same black pencil. This is, I think the color is Perfect. Yeah, Perfect. See, Perfect. Alright. This time I will tip it toward my lash line, because that's what helps you get, okay, if you're holding your pencil like this, you're going to get a big old wide thick line. If you hold it, you know, 90 degrees to your lash line, that's what helps you get a thinner line. You know, it's the same whether you use that liner brush or you use a pencil. Alright. And now, if you want to glam that up even more, and we'll just put it away. Okay, right there on top. Grab your palette again and use the same colors that you used up top and kind of draw right over top of that black line. Because what it will do, it will catch some of those colors, but it won't be quite as bold. So it'll look a little more cohesive. So let's see, I would probably do the red and the purple again. So I would take Sarcastic, and because I want it to blend with the upper part, I would put purple more to this side. So I'm going to put Sarcastic, the red one, I'm going to put that more here in the middle. And you'll see this technique, like if you Googled, like halo eye techniques, that's kind of something they do, where they kind of pick an area of the eye and then circle it. So it's similar to that if you've ever tried one of those. Ooh, I got myself in the eye. Alright. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it just puts a little bit of color right there in the center. And it, I don't know, it just makes it look a little more cohesive. And here I am trying to use my wrist instead of my color switch. There we go. And then I'll take a little bit of the purple. And then we know that purple is really bold, so go a little easier on the pigment for this. But then I'll put that right along the outside, along that lash line. Oh, now I can't see. Yeah, see? And it just kind of softens it up a little bit. So you don't have that harsh black, but yet that black's still there to anchor everything, kind of tie it all together. Alright, so those are done. Eyes are done. Hardest part, well, the thing I have the most trouble with after this is what color lips do I do? I always do my lips last. If you want really bold, I really like Sensational lip stain. I'm a fan of the stains over anything else. They stay on me better. Let's see. Let's go. I did the eyes a little more muted than I normally would. So I think I'm gonna go bright. So I'm gonna do Skittish. It's like a kind of a bright Barbie pink. All right, here we go. And you gotta let it dry a little bit. See, I've had to be careful lately. For some reason, I've gone too far, like, out here. And I got, like, got this big old fat lip. But yeah, a nice bright one. You can do a nice bright red. That's probably the boldest choice, especially if you're already doing bold eyes, but both look very nice. You can do a nude lip. I've done a similar look with the Lucid lip gloss. Yeah, that looks really nice. Yeah, so that's basically it. If you want to add more, I would do contour. That's probably the only other thing I would do. And I like to use our Beachfront bronzer. I have it in Malibu. I've also tried the Sculpting Trio, and I like this better because I think it blends a little bit nicer and it's a little easier to put on. The Sculpting Trio is nice, but it's a cream formula, so I have a hard time blending that without totally screwing up my foundation. But yeah, suck in your cheeks. Find that little hollow spot, and that's where you want to put it. And then blend down. And I gotta go from my ear and stop here around my eye. So after I've got it here, then I kind of do this to blend it in a little bit. So you can already see the difference. It's chiseled, a little bit puffier. But that's okay, because now we're going to fix the other side. Now you can also do this around your jawline. But I find that if I try and put it right here along my little double chin, it just makes the rest of the double chin look bigger. So I avoid that area. That's personal preference, but that is somewhere you can do it. You can also do it here along, the jawline down here. The only other place I really put it, you can also do it like along the bridges of your nose. But I always royally screw it up and then I just look silly. So I put it right here along my hairline. And kind of blend upward. Alright, yep, blend it right into your hair. Alright, and it just kind of finishes off the whole look. You can also use one of our great new illuminizers. I am still waiting on mine. I got a shipping notification today. Yay. I ordered mine in a collection, so I'm going to get the cream one and find out what that is. We also have a powder one, and it's like a cream to powder, so it comes in a little stick. I've got one from a different brand here, but it works the same way. And ours are a lot bigger. This was a sample. I got my Ipsy, but basically you pick, where you want to put it. Let's say I want to highlight the top of my cheekbones here. You can just rub it along there, blend it in, and you've got a little extra glow. So I usually like to do the tops of my cheeks right there. And then I do the center of my nose. That was probably a little bit too much. And then right here on my little Cupid's bow. And then whatever's left on my finger, I stick right here and right here. Let's see. The only thing I didn't do is brows. I don't really like doing my brows. As my hairstylist likes to say, I got in the line for hair twice. I'm blessed with hair everywhere. So, they're kind of full already. And, yeah, they might be a little sparse out here and could use a little bit. Palette 4, Brave. Another use for it. But, like I said, I'm staying home with the kids, so I'm not going to do that today. But, yeah, if you're going out in public, you wanted to look a little more cleaner, a little bit trimmed up, do your brows. It makes a difference. That's all I got. Makeup of the day. March. 22nd. Life of a stay-at-home mom. I don't even know the date. March 22nd. So go try it. Give it a try. Don't be intimidated by color. Say palette 5 is your friend. You just have to know how to control it. Transition colors are important. Primer is important. You also know, oh, now that I mentioned primer, you didn't see me use it on my face. And the reason for that is BB Flawless is meant to be a moisturizer. I want it to soak into my skin. I want it to absorb there. If I was using liquid foundation, absolutely put primer on. It will help it stay in place. It will help it sit on top of your face so that your skin isn't soaking in all of the pigment. And it will just have a lot better coverage and it will last longer. But that's why I didn't use it today, because I was using BB Flawless. Sometimes I will with BB Flawless, but for the most part, I want it to soak in because that's what it's designed to do. So, take care of your skin. Don't be afraid of color. Have a nice day.